Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. The Civil Service Association is warning the Ministry of Health that if it receives no response to its letter penned on behalf of its members relating to the transition to the Millennium Heights Medical Complex, there will be no signing of the contracts issued by the ministry. The CSA says the failure to even acknowledge its letter is distasteful.
On April 28th, the St. Lucia Civil Service Association, CSA, wrote to the Permanent Secretary in the Department of Health and Wellness, relaying concerns of its members about the transition to the Millennium Heights Medical Complex. The letter highlighted a myriad of issues ranging from work benefits to salary deductions. In the letter, the General Secretary of the CSA, CLAUDE called for a meeting with the Departments of Health and Public Service to seek resolve on the many issues in the letter. 2 weeks later, Paul says there has been no acknowledgement of the missive. This, he says, is disturbing and distasteful given the gravity of the concerns of their members.
Sadly, we have not heard from the Ministry of Health nor any of the other persons involved. I made some inquiries as to what's happening, and it appears that they are still doing research and preparing a response, but not even the courtesy of an acknowledgement of the letter has received from the PS of Health. And we view this very seriously because these are the concerns of our members. They have not been graced with the courtesy of an acknowledgement of this letter, and we find that to be very disturbing. It is either the ministry is ignoring the plight of the workers and the questions of the workers, or in fact, they don't know what to do. So I don't know.
Paul says not until the CSA receives a response from the Department of Health and Wellness will members of the CSA be signing any contracts.
The longer they take, the more time it will be required for us to peruse what they come up with. And as we have consistently said, transition is not a date, it is a process. And until the concerns of our workers are fully addressed and that they are satisfied with the arrangements, they will not sign the document. That is the position. We wait and we do not sign. That's the instruction to our members. We wait until they address the concerns, and if they do not address the concerns, we will not be signing those documents. End of case.
Paul says workers remain reluctant to sign contracts because they are uncomfortable with the wording of the contracts. He underscores the need for dialogue at the soonest. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
The president of the National Taxi Union is expressing belief that the national COVID-19 vaccination drive is not going to improve the lives of taxi operators. LUCIEN Joseph says whilst he is not discouraging anyone from taking the jab, he is simply not convinced that the drive will play a significant role in the revival of the tourism sector and the local taxi sector, as the damage caused by the pandemic is way too extensive.
According to the president of the National Taxi Union, LUCIEN Joseph, there is only a faint light at the end of the tunnel for the local tourism and taxi sectors so far, as the island continues to grapple with the COVID-19 pandemic. Furthermore, Joseph said while some sectors are starting to get a slight relief, the taxi sector is most certainly not one of the lucky ones. The NTU president said not even the global vaccine drives are enough to ease the sector's burdens.
Because of America, and the CDC right now is starting to vaccinate young children under the age of 16. Plus, that is the only country in the world, that is America, that is open to St. Lucia. Right now, Canada is still closed, England is still closed. So we are still in a desperate situation. We still have with the rental car businesses that there is not one of them that have made $1 yet, because the CMO is saying that you cannot let people go wherever they want, because so they will not give the rental car business the right to fly their routes, their business. But the taxi sector now, I would say about 50% or 55% of the driver of the sector now starting to make a little dollar. But you not to say you can put money to go to any bank. It's just to help you for you to eat and pay your bills, that's all.
Joseph said the situation would not improve even though taxi drivers and commuters alike are all vaccinated.
It is still different, because while the taxi drivers are certified and some of them have the vaccine, it is where to take people. Are there anywhere to take people? Mostly all the restaurants are still closed. There are few tours and attractions that is still closed. So you need these things to be reopened for you to start to find out what can you do. Right now, it is still under lock and key.
As for the vaccines, Joseph said he is not sold on the idea.
If the world is saying it's a positive thing, I'm not in a position to say no. But the thing is that I have my doubts in my mind of what can be, what I expect from this thing, what is the repercussions to it, and things like that. So this is why I am watching, I'm waiting to see what will be the outcome from now until the next 2 or 3 months. Because if you look at India, which was giving everybody vaccine, and what is happening now in India right now is the worst impulse of the pandemic. So I am very skeptical about a lot of things, but I do not know if I don't say I do not know. I want to make sure that the vaccine will work before I really put my 2 hands in it.
St. Lucia and the rest of the region are all preparing for the reopening of the cruise sector, which is anticipated to happen in July of this year. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
The National Students' Council is expressing disappointment in the students involved in a tussle that was captured on video and has since gone viral. The organization's public relations officer says the disappointment is not just with the participants, but the onlookers as well. Jean-Luc Constantine says now more than ever, the education of young people on proper mediation techniques is critical.
A video making the rounds on social media is prompting serious concern about interpersonal violence among students. In the video, 2 young males engage in a tussle, and as they tackle each other, one of the boys is slammed to the ground, at which point other students erupt in excited outbursts, egging on the schoolmates. The video, although very disturbing, has been used as comedy among the student body, with music added to the video, helping the content to go viral. The National Students' Council has since viewed the video and says these incidents can only be avoided if proper mediation techniques had been taught.
We have seen videos like this circulating one too many times, and actions are only ever taken after the incident occurs. Let us avoid this. As a society, we must avoid this. Students, teachers, parents alike, we need to take up the responsibility in teaching ourselves and those around us effective conflict resolution techniques. Only then can future incidents like the one we would have seen in the video be avoided.
According to Constantine, the National Students' Council does not recognize violence as something to cheer for, nor does it promote it. It encourages students to do and think in the same vein.
Let us employ the use of our school counselors, our deans, our prefects, teachers, and other authoritative figures in the school to resolve our issues in a safe and fair manner. As students, we must know when to speak and when to walk away. Do not become part of the issue, but instead become the solution to it.
Research has long shown that schools play a crucial role when it comes to preventing and responding to violence. In 2019, UNICEF's Preventing School-Based Violence booklet highlighted that life skills taught in violence prevention, such as communication, managing emotions, resolving conflicts, and solving problems, are the same skills that can help children succeed in school and that can protect against other issues that affect learning, such as alcohol and drug abuse. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
Nurses in St. Lucia and across the world are being celebrated today, the 12th of May, for their stellar contributions to healthcare, particularly during the pandemic. The World Health Organization designated 2020 as the International Year of the Nurse and Midwife, but with the advent of COVID-19, it has been extended into 2021. This year's theme, Nurses, A Voice to Lead, A Vision for Future Healthcare, places significance on the importance of leadership in nursing to achieve safe and effective outcomes.
Internationally and in St. Lucia, nurses are the largest group of healthcare workers and have historically been a huge symbol of healthcare. Their skills and knowledge make them one of the most prominent pillars that uphold our healthcare system. So when the COVID-19 pandemic swept across the globe, nurses were at the forefront and continue to be there. President of the St. Lucia Nurses Association, ALICIA Baptiste, says that 2021's observance of International Nurses Day has come at the opportune time to keep the focus on nurses a little longer.
Although life as we know it may have changed now to the new normal, the care character of nurses has not. We often talk about how nurses take care of the rest of us and how grateful we are for their extraordinary skill and compassion. More than ever, the rest of us needs to take care of nurses. One such way is to follow the Ministry of Health's protocols to help minimize the virus spread and place less burden on our already overworked nurses. We all depend on the resilience of nurses, their ability to deal with everything being thrown at them and still return the next day or night to do it all over again.
This year of the nurse in particular, this month, the Chief Nursing Officer calls on the public and private sectors for support and action to ensure that nurses are supported, protected, motivated and equipped to deliver healthcare at all times, not only during COVID-19.
As we have all witnessed, the health workforce being put to a test this past year as COVID-19 spread across the globe. The pandemic has highlighted the critical role and the importance of nurses within the healthcare sector and has also highlighted the long-standing problems that remain unresolved. The capacity as well as the competencies of nursing professionals, nursing leadership, as well as working conditions, nursing distribution, allocated resources, and nursing education are all priority areas within the profession that requires urgent attention. This pandemic has impacted our nurses in situations never seen before, such as working long hours, abuse and victimization by clients, and evolving guidance on how to care for the patients and the virus, compounded by the mass migration of nurses.
The Chief Nursing Officer also highlights the work of retired nurses who continue to contribute to healthcare within the communities. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
Meanwhile, the president of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association is also highlighting the contribution of nurses to the healthcare system.
May 12th is observed as Nurses Day internationally. This year's theme, Nurses, A Voice to Lead, A Vision for Future Healthcare, places significance on the importance of leadership in nursing to achieve safe and effective outcomes. While International Nurses Day is seen as one day to celebrate the contributions of nurses to the medical field, the president of the Medical and Dental Association, Dr. Mo Clark, says now more than ever, nurses need to be celebrated more.
To those with whom we cannot do what we do, we'd like to say a huge and hearty congratulations. You truly are the patient's advocate. Patients do spend so much more time with nurses than perhaps they do with us physicians. Those who hold their hands, those who will rub their hair, certainly more than us. And sometimes that's really all you need. Say a woman who's in labor, her nurse, she depends on her midwife. In addition, of course, to the relative who now is allowed to be with her in the room where she's gone into labor. So many things that our nurses do, and sometimes it seems that we do not appreciate them as much as we should, but the reality is no hospital, no healthcare facility can adequately run without nurses. They are caring, they are loving, they are wonderful, and we sincerely appreciate our nurses.
Dr. Clark says the expertise of nurses will always be needed and they should never be made to feel less than or forget just how important they are to any medical team and their patients. She says the advent of COVID-19 brought to the fore the need for the skills and gentle touches of nurses.
The reality is the importance of the nurse did come to the fore. I mean, if just to see what compensation was being offered, particularly in the more industrialized countries, for the services of nursing. Nursing is always going to be a profession which is in great demand. And there's a reason for that. The loving touch, the caring, because we understand that with healthcare, it's not simply about the medication, it's about the person who's providing the care. So again, we'd like to take this opportunity to say to our nurses that we love you, we care, we thank you for all that you do on behalf of a grateful nation. We say a huge thank you for the sacrifices that you've made, that you've always made, but even more so in this past year, leaving your family behind, leaving your activities behind, not having the opportunity to do so many things, making those sacrifices for the betterment and the well-being of our citizens.
Nurses make up the largest portion of professionals in the healthcare system. Dr. Clark says nurses need to know that their passion for patients' health is appreciated every day and their compassion, optimism and kindness do not go unnoticed. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more news coming up after the break.